Well, hey everyone, welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into Magic the Gathering's Universes Beyond on the back end of Disney announcing that they are launching a new TCG called Disney Lorcana, I believe. Yeah, Lorcana. We're going to have a conversation about what does this mean for Universes Beyond? What does this mean for Magic the Gathering? And what are some things to be looking out for as they move forward on that. I'm going to take a lot of assumptions in this video. It's going to be kind of a conversation about the different IPs that could have been on the radar for Magic the Gathering. And we're going to take a look at the top IP intellectual properties in the world and kind of evaluate that moving forward. Is this a decision that maybe would have changed 2 years ago? So let's hop in. Hope you have yourself a fantastic day and you enjoy this video. We're going to talk a lot about it. Let's hop into it. So if you remember back in February of 2021, so this is not that old. It's only a year and a half ago. Magic announced that they were voyaging into Universes Beyond, and the idea, the simple thought that they call it, is that if we can expand their story beyond the game system to things like comics, novels, and other games, then they can do the opposite and they can expand the game system to let players explore worlds outside of Magic. And this got a ton of pushback. Some people hate it, other people liked it. This was a very contentious, and still is a very contentious issue in the world of Magic the Gathering, because some people don't want to play Magic the Gathering against something that is not Magic the Gathering. They want to protect the intellectual property of the game. They don't want Fortnite, for example, in their card game. So very interesting thing, very definitely a lot of conversations to have. The idea behind this from Magic's perspective is if we can get the people who love that lore or love that IP or love that character to look at Magic the Gathering, then we give more players more interest in the game, and I think that's the idea. So I want to have a little conversation because Disney has announced a new card game called Disney Lorcana, which is going to be essentially they kind of marketing as you're going to be a wizard and you're going to be summoning these things from Disney's IP. It's going to be all around Disney's IP. It's not just going to be a Mickey Mouse card game. It's going to be lore based around all of Disney. So this encompasses everything that Disney owns, hypothetically. They've also kind of announced that it's going to be a less competitive version of a TCG. And they, we don't know a whole lot of details about it, but kind of the idea, I think it is going to be a lower version. It's not going to be quite as competitive as Magic the Gathering, but there is going to be organized play and all that kind of stuff. So in essence, this will be competing for the market that Magic the Gathering is in. So you could make an assumption based on this, again, an assumption that Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond will not be utilizing Disney IP, Disney intellectual property, as a result of why would Disney want to help something that is competing with it. That's kind of going to be the idea based on this conversation. One thing to notice, I thought Doctor Who was a Disney intellectual property, but it is not. I thought that came with the Marvel deal, but it's owned by the BBC. So that's an interesting thing. We have Doctor Who coming out. So I thought this was tied. When they announced this, it was kind of through some conversation that maybe Star Wars would be involved in Universes Beyond. And when I saw this, I was all excited. I was like, oh my gosh, they're already working with Disney. But this is actually owned by BBC. And in fact, Doctor Who is still in kind of negotiations to be on Disney Plus even. So that's kind of an interesting tidbit. So here's the things that have currently been in Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond. You've got the Warhammer 40K thing coming out. Lord of the Rings is coming out. They've done a Walking Dead secret layer. They've got the Fortnite stuff. That's kind of what's been here. And you can see Lord of the Rings is no small intellectual property. Warhammer, in my mind, is it's not small. There's a large number of Warhammer fans, but it's not Lord of the Rings. It's not Harry Potter. It's a much more niche category. So Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, kind of similar, but I think those are huge IPs that have already been involved. And I think if you are Wizards of the Coast, if you are Magic the Gathering, you are starting to look at the top IPs in the world to say, where do we grow this to? It can't just be, small name stuff. So I did a little Google search. What are the highest grossing media franchises in the world, the top IPs in the world? I kind of compared the Wikipedia article to some other articles and some other charts, and the Wikipedia article is pretty accurate. It's easier to hone in who owns it. So here's what I want to talk about. The highest grossing IPs in the world, what can Magic actually tap into? That's the conversation I want to have here today. Let me make sure you can see the name of these IPs here. Number one, Pokemon. Obviously, Magic is not going to do a Universes Beyond on Pokemon because Pokemon is a TCG. So the number one IP in the world by a lot, it's crazy, is Pokemon, and they're not going to be able to touch that. Hello Kitty, maybe. I think there was already a Hello Kitty type thing a long time ago. But now Hello Kitty is, the owner of Hello Kitty is on the board for MetaZoo. I don't know if you guys knew that. So that's going to be an interesting thing, but that could be a target potentially for Universes Beyond. But then the next, all of them are off the table. Mickey Mouse and Friends, obviously not going to be there. Walt Disney owns Mickey Mouse and Friends. Winnie the Pooh, another one on there. Disney owns Winnie the Pooh. Star Wars, owned by Lucasfilms, owned by Walt Disney, not going to be on there. Mario, Nintendo, seems like that's going to go to Pokemon. I don't think that they're going to go. They might. That could be something. I highly doubt it, though. Disney Princesses, Walt Disney. I don't know what this is. I have no clue what Pan Man is. But it is, that could be it. It's a picture book. I don't know. I guess it's, I have no clue. I don't know what that one is. Marvel, owned by Walt Disney. Not going to see that. I guess you could see a Harry Potter type thing. That one is not. So that might be one of the next targets, I would say, for Universes Beyond. But Spider-Man, owned by Marvel, Walt Disney. Dragon Ball has its own TCG. And then you get into Batman. So I think that's where you're at. You're all the way down here to Batman, Barbie, Transformers, Gundam, Call of Duty, which are all considerably smaller IPs than what could have been in this Universes Beyond thing. Now, the conversation here that I want to have is a little bit of a conversation of would they have, knowing that Disney Lorcana was coming out, would they have seemingly put so many eggs into the basket of, Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond? And I tend to think probably not. I tend to think that probably this came as quite the shock to Magic the Gathering, that they will not be able to interact with, this huge IP in the majority of the large IPs. They're not going to be able to interact with those things. And that's a really, really interesting take, because what happens now, Magic tends to work about 4 to 5 years in advance. So there's probably 3 to 4 years, I would guess, of things scheduled. But if you're growing as a business, you're growing as a company, your goal is to hit those large targets. Those targets have now moved, and I don't know, maybe we start seeing a pull back from this Universes Beyond thing because the potential reach now is so much less, and thus, Disney Lorcana kind of crumples and fails. But I think that this is actually going to take a pretty big hit to this Universes Beyond thing. And I would venture to say that over the next year, Magic will start leaning in a little bit heavier into their own personal IP, which is going to make a lot of people pretty angry, because a lot of people said that. I'm one of the ones who I was like, I like the idea of Star Wars in Magic the Gathering. That's something that I personally think is kind of cool. But I know a lot of other people are going to be like, this is like a ridiculous attempt that apparently could fail pretty miserably now. So I'm very curious to hear what you think. Would you, are there IPs that aren't owned by Disney that you think would actually help Magic the Gathering grow? I mean, Magic the Gathering is barely even on this list. I don't even think it was Magic it's not even on this list of top 100 IPs, not anywhere close. So it'd be interesting to see. Lego is the bottom of that list, by the way. Interesting. Lego at $2 billion is the bottom of the list. So there is a lot of potential still. But like, man, I just think like the final reach is just not there anymore. The ultimate goal, I think, is just not there anymore. And that definitely, holds back a little bit from Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond. So let me know what you think about Universes Beyond. What happens moving forward with Disney Lorcana, as you have now the #1 IP owning thing in the world. I mean, Pokemon's the #1 IP in the world, but if you add up all the IP that Walt Disney owns, you're nowhere close, I don't think. So what happens now that Disney Lorcana is coming out and that they are going to be competing with Magic the Gathering with this Universes Beyond stuff? Let me know in the comment section below. Hope you have yourself a fantastic day. Thanks for being around. Be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.